If you have vessels queuing up pretty much every day, or you have a pipeline system into which you are pushing your products, and then they can distribute it across depots around the country. So that's going to be a very key thing as well too for the NNPC, because they just sit down, collect their transit fee at the end. All they need to do is plug their pipeline, get a pipeline, plug it all the way to these refineries. Once they get to these refineries, and those refineries can pump out, and then they distribute across the 21 depots we have across the country. Private guys can also plug their own depots in as well too, and they can push to those depots as well too. We have all the Apapa depot. We can plug a pipeline all the way from Epe to Apapa, and we can get the refineries there, the depots there being filled up again from the refinery as well. So there'll be that opportunity ahead.
So if the petrol retailers, in particular perhaps the independent marketers, or those who are those guys down the downstream value chain, get this petrol from the private sector-led system, would that stop this cartel of stealing and smuggling fuel that we produce via the federal government refineries and the ones we imported by the federal government outside the country to neighboring countries?
Now,
do you think that's a solution?
No, that wouldn't. What would solve that issue is if you allow the market take control, if you allow full deregulation. Now, if you allow full deregulation, what that means is that NNPC brings in only what NNPC needs to sell through NNPC stations. Total brings in what Total needs to sell through stations. Anybody that buys from Dangote and decides to take it outside the country has already paid Dangote already, so he can take it wherever he wants.
Okay,
that's the only solution.
I like that.
The situation right now where NNPC brings in and then
sells to everybody,
and sells to everybody, and the marketer and takes that out of the country. Of course, that will be that's small.
That's the problem.
That's what the problem. So that one needs to be taken out of the way. But that one is not even the major part of the issue we have on ground right now. The major part of the issue we have on ground right now is the fact that we just don't have enough barrels. We don't have enough liters in the tanks. We don't have enough PMS in the tanks.
But we have enough petrol, or sorry, crude that we produce, right?
Yes, we do.
So NNPC has its fair share of the crude oil they're supposed to swap and put in the refineries locally that are not functioning. So it's got to trade it
and get products in.
Yeah, product in.
Yes. And we haven't gotten enough products in. So that's why DAPMA recently had to release a press statement that, look, we do not have petrol in our tanks. If we have in our tanks, we will ship out, but we don't have. So the issue right now is that, I mean, I've been tracking, if you check Nigerian ports records, they show you what vessels have been coming in over the last few weeks. And if you check, we only had 3 small vessels come in the last few days, bringing in PMS.
So on what basis was Dr. Ebe Kacheku so confident on December the 7th saying, oh, hold on a second, there's additional trucking to major cities by NNPC using Nigeria's strategic reserves from Suleja, Minna, Gusau, and Gombe? Was he telling the truth? Was Kacheku telling the truth on December the 7th when he told the press?
Yeah, he was. He was speaking about the fact that we have our strategic storage, which we normally keep, usually about 30 to 60 days. And if you check since September, that strategic storage has been going down because we've been having to sell deep out of it because we've not been bringing in enough volumes. If you check again, volumes have been reduced.
Why aren't this NNPC bringing enough volume? Because the NNPC, he's the one that has the crude, which is the primary product, the raw materials, and also has what it takes to bring in the finished product, and has the FX to his side. So he's got both the yam and the knife. So what's the problem?
So I think the problem is going to be 2 things. It's either of one of 2 things, and I'm not speaking with all certainty here now. It could be one of 2 things. It's either, number one, the parties that are involved in the swap program are not experienced enough to get in the volumes they need to get in. Because, again, it's a swap program. You've got to be able to convince the traders, the traffickers, the Vitals, so on, that, look, we'll bring in the products and then you get your crude oil payment. If you don't have the experience in dealing with those parties, you probably won't get what you need to get. So if you check the volumes,
simple arrangement.
It looks pretty much, but again, the world of trading is really complex.
It's murky.
It's murky, yeah, it is. And
I don't want to say dirty, but it's murky.
Yes.
Because it's not as transparent. Because I just give you the crude, you give me the petrol, and why should that be simple? It's just a swap.
Yes.
So you know the volume you're taking and the volume I'm taking and I'm bringing it back to the country.
But it has to be at a price. And if I have been given a price by NNPC beyond which I cannot trade, then there's a limit to which what I can do as well, which is the second part of what I was going to mention to you, that, look, the swap doesn't just happen as I gave you crude and this is what crude is in the international market and this is the products you're meant to bring in. No, NNPC also gives you a price in terms of this is what we want you to bring the products at. This is the price we want you to bring it at. And again, that price tends to change. And I was speaking to some of the marketers who are involved in the process, and they told me, look, the prices we got for products that we were meant to bring in this December were similar to prices we had been given during the summer period. And we couldn't bring it at that price because that price was it wasn't fair compared to what was in the market currently. It was too low. It was lower than what was in the market.
Why did NNPC give them that price?
Again, that's for NPC to answer, I guess.
Yeah, you don't work for the NPC.
That's what
I'm
NPC
just
to
I
answer.
think you should give you that question.
So exactly. So the market had said that, and they said, look, we just couldn't bring in at that price. So what happened was that vessels that were meant to come in couldn't come in because they just couldn't bring products at that price. So again, that's why I said pricing is really central to solving this issue. If we fully deregulate and then people can bring in at the fair market price, we'll get enough products at every time.
Okay, well, I think we've got enough of you today. For today, you've gotten enough from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brighton Early, I'm back to business. We're starting with petrol and power. Dolapo, the head of energy research at EcoBank, Nigeria. When we come back, is the markets. What's the playbook looking like in 2018? We've got the head of investment and Codros Capital to talk to us. Bolahan and I will be here in 2 minutes.